let's get on with our guests who are joining us to discuss more on this. We have Rajkamal Rao, who's the Managing Director of Rao Advisors LLC and Director of Rao Advisors LLC and OPED columnist as well. And then we are also joined in by Ashok Sajjanhar, who is a former ambassador. Let's just begin with you, Mr. Rao. Help us understand how significant and important is this change in leadership from Powell to Warsh in terms of, the kind of direction that US is going to take, both in terms of inflation, growth, as well as market expectations?
Thank you for having me. This is going to be a day and night situation because Kevin Warsh is going to be a team player. I think Trump even mentioned in the social media post that he would be a player from central casting, essentially suggesting that an independent organization like the Fed will start bending to the wishes and demands of the president. The current situation with Jerome Powell, by the way, we should not forget, it was Trump who appointed him in 2017 when Trump was president for the first term. But things have gone very, very bad with him and Powell. Powell refuses to lower interest rates. Trump believes that he should lower interest rates. And it is not really Trump's, the Fed is supposed to be an independent board of governors. So there shouldn't be so much political pressure applied on Powell. And that actually went crazy recently when, the Department of Justice filed a case against him for mismanagement of funds. So this is a very, very nasty situation between the Fed and Trump. There is a Supreme Court decision that's going on with Lisa Cook when he tried to fire Lisa Cook. So currently, relationships are very bad. And I think Kevin Warsh is the first task of Kevin Warsh is to calm things down at the Fed, and obviously to bid Trump's wishes, to bid on Trump's wishes to lower interest rates, whether they're necessary or not.
How can, let's speak to Ashok Sajjanhar and get his reaction on this. Now a Federal Reserve perceived as more aligned with the political leadership could also affect the global perception of, the US economic leadership, and also in multilateral forums like G7, IMF and World Bank as well. So how do you, look at or view this change in leadership? Let's get your reaction, former ambassador.
Yeah, thank you very much for having me. No, you're very right. It definitely will have an impact, but I think to begin with, for some time, Wash will have to, kowtow to the wishes, if I can use that word, or, basically do what Trump wishes him to do, because there is going to be a brief honeymoon period. I'm sure both of them would have had a discussion. And he would have followed what the problems have been between President Trump and the former Fed Reserve Chair Jerome Powell. And so he knows what the problem areas are, and I'm sure he would have decided in terms of the manner in which he's going to act, that is basically to do as Trump wishes, what Trump wishes him to do. So that is not going to send out, to begin with, the right message to the global community and the global financial institutions. But going forward, he'll have to establish his own credibility and the credibility of the Fed, because the manner in which all the tariffs have been imposed over the last several months, about a year or so, since April last year, it does appear that the economy is on very slippery ground as far as, whether it is employment figures are concerned, inflation figures, investment figures, they are not very impressive. The GDP might show a good, impressive 4+% growth over the last year, but otherwise the other fundamentals don't look to be so good. So while to begin with, he will bow to the wishes of President Trump, but going forward, he will need to make sure that his own credibility amongst the financial institutions, global financial institutions, and also that of the Fed is retained, and that's going to be a tough call because going forward, President Trump, we've seen him the way he conducts himself, will expect Kevin Warsh to do his bidding. And there could be, I'm sure there would be, in not too distant a future, circumstances where Kevin Walsh could be forced to put his foot down and maintain his independent stance, and that is really going to be problematic.
Sajjanhar, I'm going to come back to you on the impact on the emerging markets, but over to you, Mr. Rao. If you can help us understand what should be Warsh's first 90-day priorities as he assumes the role.
Right. So, Shivani, as you know, there is the ambassador alluded to employment, as you mentioned emerging markets, you mentioned the value of the dollar, you mentioned all of the traditional, responsibilities of the Federal Reserve, but there is a little known detail about the Fed, and that is that the Fed actually has dual responsibilities. It has to maintain the value of the dollar, control interest rates, all that stuff. But it is also responsible for fostering employment. And right now, unemployment is slightly creeping up, and new jobs are hard to come by. So I would say that Kevin Warsh will be more inward looking. He will try to consolidate his position within the Fed to try to focus on unemployment and the economy. And everything is tied up in the courts, so he has little room to maneuver. But I think, as you know, all of Trump's friends are from Wall Street. Trump was a New Yorker. He was a real estate developer. He understands fixed income much better than securities and other parts of the market. As a real estate developer, his friends are Scott Bessent and Howard Lutnick, both of them who are from Wall Street. So they have been advising him. And so what's going to happen is that you're right. The first order of business will be within a few weeks when the FOMC meets. He will try to push to lower interest rates, and let's see what happens. Whether the economy can take lower interest rates or not, we don't know. But he's definitely going to push for that. And lower interest rates will obviously mean that the dollar will fall a little bit.
Sure.
And so there are lots of things that will happen, but I think right now the focus of Kevin Warsh will be to focus inward into the US markets.
Absolutely. Over to you, Ambassador Sajjanhar. Before we wrap this conversation, I have just time for one more question, which I want to ask you. From a diplomatic perspective, from your diplomatic lens, if you can help us understand, what is the kind of advice that you would like to give emerging economies like India? What should they heed in preparing for a potentially more politically influenced US monetary policy? What is it that we should prepare for, brace for going forward? Ambassador?
As far as the emerging economies are concerned, they have started increasingly. Yes. Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, I think there is an issue with the connection over here, but Ambassador and Mr. Rao, thank you so much for joining us for this discussion.